For the first time in a very long time, it looks like I had good timing. I just joined Booktube and it's almost March, and around Booktube, March is known as middle grade March. Despite the fact that I just joined, I figured, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. So today I'm going to share my TBR that follows the 5 prompts for middle grade March. The hosts are Krista from Books and Jams, Katie from Life Between Words, and Amanda from The Curly Reader, and I will have all of them linked below. For my contemporary pick, I chose The Strangers by Margaret Peterson Haddix. This is a book about 3 siblings who one morning are watching the news when they see that 3 children with the exact same names and the exact same birth dates have been kidnapped. And before they're able to ask their mother about this very peculiar thing, she goes off on this work trip and just disappears for a long period of time. So they're left to kind of figure out what's going on, where is our mother, and who are these kidnapped children. Chaos ensues, and I can't wait to figure out what happens. I've heard a lot of good things about this on Booktube, so it's been on my radar for a while. For a book that has an orphan as the main character, I have chosen The Riddle of Ages, which is part of the Mysterious Benedict Society series by Trenton Lee Stewart. This is a series that is about a number of orphans who are exceptional in some way, different ways. They're very engaging, intelligent children, and they have a wonderful friendship, and they solve these mysteries together and essentially save the world. So I believe this book is going to be more of the same. I do know that in this book there are some prisoners who have escaped, and so I'm sure they're going to be fighting evil in the same sort of way that they've been fighting it before. But the books are always engaging, they're always really witty, and they're very fun to read. For a book that has at least 5 words in the title, I've narrowed it down to 2 books, and I think I'm probably going to read both of them because they are pretty short. The first one is The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane, and this is by Kate DiCamillo. So this is a story about a China rabbit doll, and he is owned by a little girl named Abilene, and she adores him. She takes him everywhere, and they live a really good life together. One day, the rabbit gets lost, and so I believe that this is the journey of this rabbit and maybe how he gets back to the girl. I can't wait to read this. The second option is by Andrew Peterson, and it is part of the Wingfeather Saga, and the title of the book is On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness. I think this is a trilogy, but I'm not exactly sure. What I do know is that this is a fantasy adventure book following a family called the Igby family, and they live in a world that's kind of overseen by these lizard-type creatures, and this book, from what I can tell, has a very wry sense of humor, which definitely piques my interest. So with this book, I'm looking forward to things like toothy cows. Look at that thing. Doesn't that look horrifying? And all sorts of other creatures. I think that this is going to be really imaginative and different, and so it intrigues me. The next prompt is to read a book that is older than me. So I chose The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. This was published in 1978. It's a Newbery Award winner. It's been on my radar for a long time, since grade school, and I just have never gotten around to picking it up. So this was the perfect opportunity. This is about Samuel Westing, who has died. He is a millionaire, and he's also somebody who really, really loves to play games. And so in his will, he invited 16 people to his house, and one of them might even be a murderer. So he's playing one last game on these 16 people. I'm not sure if you're trying to figure out who killed him, if there's a fight over the will, if you've got to figure out some sort of riddle to figure out who out of the 16 get his millions. I have no idea, but I'm very excited to see what's in here. And the final prompt for middle grade March is to read a book that either has an Asian main character or takes place in Asia. So I found a Newbery Award winning book by a Korean American author. Her name is Linda Sue Park, and the book is called A Single Shard. And this takes place in 12th century Korea, and you're following a young boy, I believe he's 10 years old, and his name is Tree Ear. He is an orphan, so it also follows that prompt, and he's living a very difficult life, scrounging for food and just having a hard time of it. And he finds this potter who he very much admires, and he spends his time watching this potter work and make this absolutely beautiful pottery that his town is known for. And all he can do is dream about one day being able to actually create this pottery himself. He gets taken in by this potter, Min, to work for the potter, and work is really hard. It's backbreaking, and Min does not have the best attitude in the world. So it's a story of perseverance and hard work, and I very much appreciate those things. And I also really like that it is about a potter and pottery, because pottery is something that I absolutely love. It captivates my attention. And finally, there is also a group read for middle grade March, and I cannot wait for this one. I'd never even heard of it until I was looking up the prompts for this month, but super excited about it. It is by the same author who wrote Wonder, which I read a few months back, and I found it to just be heart-achingly beautiful. This book is going to be very different from that one because it's a very different genre. It's more of an adventure, fantasy sort of book. At any rate, it is called Pony, and it is following a boy, a 12-year-old boy named Silas, and in the middle of the night, his father is taken away by these three horsemen, and he is left all alone except for a ghost and this guide who is a horse. So the story is going to be about the journey and adventure that they then take on to go find his father. So really don't know anything more than that, and honestly, I really kind of like going into books and movies with very little knowledge. So that's all that I have for my TBR. I can't wait for it. I think that it's going to be really fun. I am reading some other things, but these are all the middle grade books that I have planned. I might end up reading some others with my children, but I will keep you updated throughout the month. And thank you so much for following along. Since I am new here, if you want to learn a little bit more about me, I do have a newbie book tag, which you can check out, and I also have my first review up. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on those things, and I'd love to hear also if you have read any of these books that I've talked about. Please let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear if you've read them and what you thought about them.